Welcome again to another video on one of our investments within Pires Investments PLC. And today we're going to talk about our newest investment, a company called Volograms. And I'm pleased to be here today with the CEO and founder, Rafa Pires, of the company, and also the managing partner of Shore Valley Ventures, Barry Downs. So, Rafa, we'd love to learn more about Volograms.
Great. Thanks so much for the introduction. And I'm very happy to be here, very excited. Well, I can tell you a little bit about who Volograms is or what do we do. And I was thinking about showing you a couple slides so you can get an idea of what we're building. So Volograms, we are a Trinity College spin-out. We were founded 2 years ago. And the three founders, we were working together at Trinity College Dublin, doing our postdoctoral research. We were doing a lot of research on the 3D reconstruction space, computer vision, computer graphics, and in general, in trying to find a better way of creating content for augmented reality in particular. And in particular, specifically, content that was captured from the real world, from reality. And so we were focusing on scanning buildings, scanning stuff, objects, but probably the most challenging thing that we had, or the biggest challenge, would be to capture humans, right? So we started at the beginning just doing it in kind of a challenging scenarios, and then we quickly realized that there was an opportunity there to maybe spin out of the university and create a business out of that, and that was 2 years ago. Okay. So, fast forward to now, and we've been doing a lot of stuff the last 2 years on the, let's say, more professional sectors, but now we're ready to transition into something that it's far more ambitious, and I think that it's gonna be a really cool thing, and you're gonna like it a lot. So let me show you some slides.
Okay.
So can you see that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Perfect. So as you can see over there, what we're trying to build right now is an AR camera for 1 billion phones, right? So nowadays, as I was saying, we believe that augmented reality is going to shape the way we communicate in the future. And right now, it's driven by a lot of usage in the mobile phone. So we want to make the mobile phone like the kind of the center of all this whole AR experience, so we don't have to wait until the proper HMD arrives in the market. So I'll show you how this is typically done nowadays. So you see this image in the left. That's the typical volumetric capture studio, which is that volumetric capture is the name of this technology that the field, let's say, where we operate. And typically what you have is this massive amount of cameras. They're all synchronized. You require like a green screen background, something like that, and you have like all these cameras looking from different viewpoints. So you get all these images, they put them together into a 3D reconstruction algorithm, and then you get this, let's say, little hologram that you can use for augmented reality. So what we want to do is to take this massive setup of cameras that you can see here and turn it into something as simple as just a smartphone. Take advantage of all the sensors that you can get in the smartphone, and be able to create content the same way that you would create it in this type of studio, but of course in a completely revolutionary way, just doing it with your phone. And we think that it's a really good moment for this. So there's, as I was saying at the beginning, the mobile phone is driving the growth of the AR industry, which of course is also huge. So there's right now like 2.5 billion AR-enabled devices. Well, there are by 2023, which is a triple of what they were in 2019. This is basically every new phone that has been released is already a mobile AR phone. So there's plenty of users creating content right now and using the content that is available for them. Sometimes it's stuff as simple as an augmented reality filter that you see in Snapchat or on Instagram. And we see that the industry is also ready for this transition. So we've seen acquisitions, pretty big acquisitions in the terms of 60 to 240 millions by the big companies, and a lot of investment also in hardware. So you see, like most of the devices nowadays, they have at least 2 cameras, but most of them already have like 3 cameras. So, but next year, half of the phones will have at least 3 cameras in the back, which is also powering the new applications that we're going to have in augmented virtual reality. So this is a massive investment that these big companies are doing. And what we see is that the content is really not matching the demand right now. So most of the applications that you see and the content that you see, it's for professionals. It's for all the professionals to create the content. And consumers cannot really capture augmented reality content. They cannot record their friends. They cannot really properly scan the rooms or anything like that. So we think that there's like a 13 billion euro opportunity here that it's been missing out. And just to show you like how all the tools and other things have been done lately in this space, right? So from the most custom solutions that you can see, the face filters that typically go very viral and that sometimes are, there's some questions about how private there are, the type of applications like Face App, to the next step, which would be the game engines, right? Where you see that the huge majority of the apps in augmented reality have been created using either Unity or Unreal, including Pokemon Go, which was created using Unity. And so you get how important these game engines are for enabling creators and also developers to put content in augmented reality. So the next thing is kind of the AR filter tool, where you can get like some more, let's say, advanced creators, not really consumers yet, but you can create your own lenses that you can, AR lenses, they call it in AR filters. You can use them in Instagram or in Snapchat or anything like this. So this is getting closer to what would be user-generated content, right? Which is where we want to be. So there's more like 700K AR lenses and created using Snap Lens Studio, most of them created by, let's say, advanced consumers or advanced creators. And then these last two that you have here is, one of them is creating content directly using like avatars, like Facemoji or like the Memoji that you have in your iPhone, and there's also like other alternatives for Samsung and stuff like that. And the very last one you see there is also 3D content captured directly with your phone, but for now, just kind of a static image. You cannot really see the 3D effect over there in that photo of a wedding. I'm there in the photo with my with my wife, but the idea is that you can actually move slightly the viewpoint of the camera, and you see how the background moves. So it's a 3D effect that a person can right now generate if you have just capturing a normal photo with your phone, but still pretty rudimentary. So still far from being something fully immersive, something that you can experience in AR. So that is actually where we want to go, to take all this system that we have created, all the experience that we have, all the algorithms that we have built for capturing people and taking them to AR and put them directly into an AR camera. Something, as you can see on the very right, where there's one of the other founders, Konstantinos, with the Vologram of a friend of ours playing with the ball. So yeah, this is a little bit, again, an explanation of what I was telling you earlier, like how the content is normally captured and how our system is, the professional system that we've been operating for a couple of years, is so much more versatile than what you had from other competitors, where you need like 100 cameras or something like this. And of course, our reconstruction algorithms are able to create this very nice, we call them Volograms, of course, the volumetric holograms that you can use in augmented reality. But the next step is actually this, which is a completely different approach. In this case, what you do is that you capture directly with your phone. So that your phone, while you can see that you're filming, you're recording the same way that you would record a normal video, but the phone is also capturing a lot of other information, like the position in space, like it's getting all the video footage from all the sensors. And all that content is uploaded to the cloud. So we do have already all our algorithms working on the cloud, or professional algorithms, so we can rely on part of this processing pipeline to get the reconstruction in an easy, fast, and efficient way. So everything is done on the cloud, and then you receive your 3D model, your calculated 3D model, as you can see over there, with this kind of blending rendering that I put there, just so you could see that that it's actually a 3D model and not a 2D image. And then, of course, in the same application, in the same experience, you can place that hologram of your friend in augmented reality, and you can take a photo of it, you can record it, you can do whatever you want with it. So at the end, what you have is the person who is capturing is a creator of the content because it's recording, but the person who is playing with it at the end, he's also a creator. So it's making everybody let's say, a creator and allowing them to express themselves in a more creative way, not just experiencing the content, but also being part of how you experience the content. And yeah, so that's basically it. That's what we are thinking of building, or we would like to have. We would like to show you very soon, and that's kind of the most exciting thing that we have. So I can show you. Yep, sorry.
Oh, Rafa, I was going to say, I know you've got a couple of videos. It'd be great to see those videos to see how it works.
Totally, yeah. Let me show them to you. So I wanted to show you mainly two different ones. One where I wanted to show you one of the capture that we did in a professional studio, and how you can get the content to seamlessly blend into any 3D environments. It's a short video with a dancer that was professionally captured in a big studio, one of our partners, and processed with our technology. And then you can see how it blends into different environments. And then I'll show you also how it looks when you play with it in mobile AR. So go. So you're from the beginning. So you see it's a 3D model, and you see how it seamlessly blends into the different environments, accepts the lighting and everything. I'll just play it again. It was only 10 seconds. So you see.
So Rafa, the first part is the capture, and then the second part we're seeing now is the integration into a different 3D space. Is that right?
That's it. Yes, exactly. So at the beginning, what you saw is how it will look once you have reconstructed it, and you can put it into, let's say, a white environment there, so completely synthetic. And what we did is that at some point we stopped the motion, so you can see how it blends directly with the 3D mesh that is underneath without any texture, and then you can see how it blends into different 3D completely synthetic environments. So you can use this type of 3D models and embed them into any kind of 3D environment. So you can have your Unity application and you can have real people there, and it looks really realistic, right? You can have your Unreal application and you can just put there real humans that interact with other 3D elements that you have in the space. So you can use this type of capture of real humans into your any immersive applications that you're creating for augmented virtual reality. But you also can use it for any kind of visual effects application. So it works also for video games. It works for 2D, let's say, digital media, where you want to enhance the capabilities of what a human can do. So for visual effects, it works perfectly fine. It's at the end of the day, what you get is a sequence of 3D models. Super. And I'll show you also how it looks in a kind of a few examples. And when you see this with your phone, if I'm able to share this. There we go. So yeah, this is some examples of some users. So in the center, you see again the same guy that we saw before, but in this case, it's recorded from a phone, so you can just walk around the 3D model and see how it looks. Again. On the right, you can see myself next to my own Volgram. Yeah, but that's it.
Your model's a bit shorter than you.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually a little bit old, that model. So the demo that we had back then, we could not scale the models. Now that's not an issue at all. So you can see that in one of the videos, the Vologram was tiny, right? So we were playing like with the difference in scale. Yeah. So now you can scale them just by zooming and pinching. And it's also kind of it was a little bit difficult when we didn't have that functionality built in to estimate how tall it was going to look once you have it on the phone. So yeah, it totally looks a little bit shorter than me.
Thanks very much for that presentation and showing us the videos. I mean, it's really super technology, and we're from a Pires perspective, we're delighted to be investing in you and the kind of crack team that you've assembled. I mean, Rafa's probably too modest to say this, but you and your team are really the world leaders in this space, and the volumetric video capture and display space, and then bringing that to mobile. And you know, one of the questions, I think you touched on it earlier on, but one of the questions is mobile AR. Can you talk a little bit more about mobile AR at the moment and how that's going to grow over the next couple of years, even over the next 2 to 3 years, Rafa?
Yeah, totally. We've actually, since the very beginning, always had like a mobile AR as one of our priorities. So when we started, as you can imagine, it was 2 years ago. All the hype was around VR because it was the Oculus, the Vive, let's say, moment. But what we saw is that augmented reality had probably a lot more potential than VR. But what we had right now was basically mobile. So we could put some content in our tablets, in our phones, and it was not so easy to get a proper AR headset, right? So we thought, okay, this has to be like one of the key components of our strategy. We always wanted to do the capture with the phone. Actually, the very first prototype that we had was using several phones to capture one single person. So we thought, okay, this has to be like a totally tied experience where you can capture the person and then experience it straight away directly on your phone. So we thought that was definitely had to be our focus, but it's also the numbers that are kind of supporting this idea. And at the end of the day, right now with more than 2 billion, or it's like, I think for 2023, it's predicted to be around 2.5 billion AR-enabled devices, which it's basically every phone that is being manufactured since the last couple of years ago or something like that is already an AR-enabled device. So there's a huge market opportunity there to put some AR capture functionality in everybody's phone. And we think that right now, there's not too many people exploiting that opportunity. There's not so many options right now if you want to capture the world around you. And most of the AR experiences that you can have, you can experience are based normally in some kind of animated in cartoons or we like saying sometimes that AR right now is in the cartoon era, right? If you turn on Netflix and suddenly you could only see animated movies. That's a little bit how it feels, which is great for some applications, but there's still a lot of space there for real humans to be there.
That's fantastic, Rafa. And you mentioned the phones that have been released over the last couple of years. And what really strikes me as very powerful about what you're doing is you're taking those setups. I think the slide you showed was with David Attenborough, where there was 90 odd cameras surrounding him. So what you're really doing is taking that setup and bringing it down to a modern iPhone and Android phone. What is it about these phones now that enables you to use the phone, one single phone, to do it?
Yeah, so there's several things, of course. One of them, as you can imagine, is how much better cameras are right now, right? So now we have some of these phones that you're mentioning have cameras that are up to the level of some of the professional cameras that we use in those type of studios. So 4K recording, 60 frames per second, in some cases even more than that. And the best thing is that some of these devices have not only one but several cameras in the back, and they are capable of recording from all the different sensors that you have in the back of your phone at the same time. So you're able to get different focal lens. You're able to get a wide up lens, tele lens, different views of the same thing that is happening, and you're able to record from all of them at the same time. And in some cases, you even have a depth sensor, time of flight sensor, LiDAR sensor, something that is able to give you some information about how far objects are, how deep. Just basically a depth map at the end of the day. The sensors have been used for volumetric capture also a lot. But we've always been very cautious about using this type of sensors because they present noise, and in some cases it's better if you just use like proper normal images. But now having several images like this in one single device allows you to do a lot more image processing, a lot more computational photography, and a lot more applications at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And I guess the last question I have for you is, really around the market opportunity. So it sounds like the phones have just got to the point where they can get the input data, and then you do a lot of artificial intelligence and deep learning in the background to create these volumetric holograms, or for want of a better word, augmented reality. Um, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding right now is that most AR experiences are programmed. Things like Pokemon Go, for example, which was a wild success, which made billions for its creators. That was really all programmed. It was software code. Um, and so there isn't really anything right now that allows you just to capture, if you, for want of a better word, native AR in the environment that you're currently in, and then play it back or mix it into other media. But I believe there you touched on some precursors. So, and you spoke about cartoons. So really, is the state of the art at the moment things like emojis, and are you really building upon that to solve a problem that's not been solved yet, which is how do you capture AR natively using a phone?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, what I was trying to explain earlier is how there's a transitioning tools from what you were saying, like something that is already predefined, you can just use, so you cannot recreate, let's say. So there's face filters that are there, and you can take photos of yourself with these face filters, games, Snapchat lenses, and little by little, I think that the user is recovering part of the creative control, right? So you're able to create more content if you're able to, let's say, customize the experience or capture the world around you. There's not too many, not too many ways of capturing real world stuff. Right now, you have there's some applications that allow you to capture, let's say, your room. There's professional software if you want to do 3D reconstruction using photogrammetry of, let's say, buildings, landscapes, or even sometimes static objects. But there's really nothing to capture humans in motion. Let's say the same way you use a normal video camera to record a video, there's no equivalent of that for augmented reality. Probably the most similar thing is what we were touching earlier, which is this type of memoji, face emoji, which is at the end of the day a way of creating a 3D model of your face that most of the times has some kind of cartoonish look, sometimes are more realistic, sometimes they're not even trying to be realistic, they want to be cartoonish and funny. But you get to customize, you get to make it look like yourself or whatever you want. So that way you have some, let's say, creation power, and then you can record yourself with that. So even though that sounds like still like a little bit of a, I don't want to say childish, but let's say playful, a little bit playful yet. Face emoji has like around 200K monthly downloads, and I think in total they have like around 4 million registered users, and I'm one of them. So there's still a lot of value in enabling the user to create the content and capture the content and play with the full experience there. What we want to enable them is to capture things as they happen. So if you have your friend saying hi, you can capture your friend, and then you can see your friend in augmented reality. So there's like a, let's say, double part of this equation where you enable the creativity on both ends of the spectrum. And at the end, what you end up having is a system to record real things and put them in augmented reality. Something that if we want augmented reality to be successful, is definitely needed.
Yes, you need the capture, and what you're describing to me there, I was just thinking about an old movie called, I don't know if you remember the movie called Minority Report, Tom Cruise movie. And there's a famous scene there where he's got a 3D display technology that shows him a 3D kind of video of his family. And, you know, that type of technology, and actually we've invested in a company called VividQ, which is all about the 3D display or the holographic display. And you're the flip side of that, which is you're the capture. You can't display anything unless you can capture it in 3D in the first instance.
Exactly.
So you're all about that kind of AR capture. Listen, that's brilliant, Rafa. And listen, thanks for that. And I'll hand you back to Nick.
Yeah, Rafa, I just have one question, which was, you know, this is obviously a very new product. And I guess to give our investors an idea as to the sort of speed, rapidity of potential growth. can you think of sort of other sort of products which have gone from effectively nowhere, as it were, to being a very significant businesses on the sort of mobile phone environment?
Yeah, well, of course, every social network is already like a good proof of this. But I really like the ones that are, let's say, enabling the users to not only be like a passive spectator and just watch content, but also interact somehow with the content. I was saying that the example earlier of Facemoji it's huge right now and probably used by younger audiences. But you see how this type of social media applications are also moving into Snapchat, Instagram, where each of them are allowing the users to create more and more content. This is it's still a little bit for, let's say, experienced users, advanced users, but it's probably the closest thing of or the closest experience of what we want to propose.
Okay. Excellent. Well, look, I mean, that's been absolutely fascinating. So thank you very much for sharing details about the company with us today. And we look forward to catching up with you in the not too distant future. Thank you very much. And thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks so
Cheers.
much.
Thanks, Rafa.
Thanks so much.